Thank you very much for this course. A lot of times, people by Sheva Brachas get up and you hear someone say, I'm not a speaker, but, and then he starts like speaking for over an hour. We wonder for someone who's not a speaker. I always asked this shaila to myself whenever I heard this. Somebody gets up and he says, I'm not a speaker, and he starts speaking. So, you're not a speaker, so that's the correct. So why are you speaking? Imagine going to a dentist and somebody comes in a white coat and he says, really, I'm not a dentist, but I'll try to root canal and see how it goes. Not a speaker, so then. The answer is, there really isn't such a thing as someone who's truly not a speaker. Because we all speak. Kol Yaakov, we all speak. We speak to the Rabbi Fishel Schachter. Whether we like it or not, we kind of speak to ourselves. So the end is everyone is a speaker. Shaila is how we learn to speak and who we learn to talk to. I really want to give a disclaimer, which I always do by events like this. And that is that for here tonight, I'm not a speaker. And the MS have absolutely no right to stand over here and speak. Who am I? I'm not a Rosh Hashiva, I'm not a Mashgiach, I'm not this big Baal B'tachon. So why am I here? The answer is, I consider it kind of an opportunity, I'll try to explain myself a little bit, for me to talk to myself. Whatever I'm saying to myself. As once the Shema Shabbos, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I went downstairs to where they have the coffee and the nash and everything, and there was one old yid sitting over there, and he's talking and dashing, there's nobody there. And I was really curious to what he had to say, and I'm listening. And finally, after a while, he notices me, and he says, when I talk to myself, it's none of your business. Okay, so I learned that even if a person talks to himself, it's an ishman geschäft. Say somebody once came to a doctor and he said, what should I do? I talk to myself all day. So the doctor said, so what's the problem? So talk to yourself all day. He says, you don't know what a nuj I am. He says, I'm going nuts, I'm going crazy. But in all honesty, talking to myself, I have no right to consider myself an expert in any way to tell people going through Nisyanis what to do. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not the person that goes through Nisyanis very well. By me, if the check engine light goes on in my car, you know what I mean? I start sittering. And in my car, it's kind of a ner tumid, you know what I mean? One of the things, I do check engine, service engine, oil, lights, brakes, give up, whatever it says. But sometimes I think that because I don't go through Nisyanis very well, and because I tend to get scared very easy, so my survival is really talking to myself about simcha, about b'tachon, about emunah, not because I'm a Baal b'tachon, because I'm desperate. And sometimes, when you talk to yourself, you want to talk a little bit loud. It makes it easier to talk to yourself. And that's really what I'm doing here today. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm talking to myself. Reb Chaim used to come into the Shabbos Tshuva Drasha, and he would say, Chretz sich allein. At the Frega Akasha, maybe you're going to ask somebody, Chretz sich allein, so why don't I just go into my office? So he said, so I don't have that problem, but when you have a receptive audience, so listen to me. I'll tell you how I talk to myself, and I'll tell you what I say to myself. And you can either accept it or not accept it. It's up to you. Pick and choose what's negated. It says in the Archaim HaKadosh, Paroi choyle. Paroi had a dream. Paroi dreamt, says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, for 2 years straight, the dream. Again and again and again. Every night before he goes to sleep, he says, I hope I don't have that dream again. And his eyes close, oh no, not those cows again. Imagine 2 years in a row, the same dream, again and again and again and again. Says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, all 2 years he had the dream. What was the purpose of him having the dream the entire 2 years? The Baal Shem Tov was once walking with one of his Talmidim, and they were in a desert. They had gotten lost. Thank you very much. They had gotten lost. And the Talmud said, we're in a desert, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty. And the Baal Shem Tov told him, have bitachon that you're going to get water. Have bitachon. Where exactly is the water supposed to come from in a desert? There's no pipeline, there's no gas station, there's no soda machine, there's no water fountain. Where, what, when? Have bitachon, you're going to have water. By the third day, this Mendel thought he was dying. He said, have bitachon. He says, I'm dying. He said, you have no other choice but bitachon. And so he walked over to the nearest cactus, or whatever it was, closed his eyes, and said, okay, eventually. I have no choice. I have full bitachon that if you wanted to give me water, you can have water. And suddenly they saw someone coming from the distance, and he had a big flask of water, and he said, maybe you guys saw my horse. For 3 days now, I'm looking for my horse that ran away. They said, we didn't see your horse. Can we buy some of your water? Sure, no problem. And he pours them a cup. So the Talmud asked the Baal Shem Tov, the Imre Pinchas, or Pinchas Makartza brings the story. Why did Hashem have to send that person 3 days before? Now when I reach the full Madrega of B'tachon, bring him. Why did Hashem send him for 3 days ago he lost his horse? The Baal Shem Tov says, answered him, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu always prepares the Yeshua. So that if and when we reach the level of B'tachon and Amunah, at that moment snap its ready. Had you reached this level of B'tachon 3 days ago, would have ran into him 3 days ago. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu prepared him from beforehand. Says Rabbi Fishel Schachter, so listen, why was Yosef Atzadik in prison for another 2 years? Lack of B'tachon. Relative to Yosef Atzadik was a lack of B'tachon. He should have not asked the Sar Mashkin for help. And because of that, he spent another 2 years in prison. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu was waiting for Yosef Atzadik to say, a kapara with the Sar Mashkin. Rabbi Fishel, you helped me. And being that that could have happened 2 years earlier, so for 2 years Pari was having this dream of it, the Yeshua was set into place. So what comes out of this story, it's a fascinating thing. It means we come up to Shemayim after 120 years, and we're going to be shown everything, and some of the things we're going to be shown will be very frustrating. But the Rebbeinu Shem is going to say, you know, I had a Yeshua for you the whole time. You had a Yeshua for me, so why didn't you show it to me? You have to be Zachar. But don't think I didn't have that Yeshua running along aside. Okay. So having said that, that doesn't make me any happier, it makes me even more frustrated. You're telling me there is a Yeshua for me, but I don't know where it is. And somewhere there's someone wandering, looking for his horse with a flask of water. What does that help me if I can't reach my level of B'tachon? So the real question we want to ask is not whether or not the Rebbeinu Shem has a Yeshua for us, but what can we do that's a little bit conducive to generate that Yeshua? Not so easy. Well, let me share with you a story. And bear in mind, I'm talking to myself, not Chas v'Shalom to anyone else. That's important, I really mean that. The Eilig Rishna once came home, and his daughter was not in a good mood. Which happens sometimes with daughters. Not fair, it's not fair, it's not right. I guess it wasn't easy to be the daughter of the Rishna. Okay, no one has it as bad as me. The Eilig Rishna said, shh, don't say that. And the Rishna told his daughter, I want to tell you a story. There once was a man who was very rich. And he came home one day and he was furious. He was so angry, he was furious. He said, no one has it as bad as I am. My chauffeur, my shugana, my wagon driver, my pool has a leak, and this is like everything in the world, the commodities, the exchanges, my office, I can't take it, nothing is going my way. The Hashem hates me. Since Shemayim they said, oh, there's no one that has it as bad as you. We'll show you what it means. Things are bad. Metach v'azah. So he began to lose his money. And he began to scream, there's no one that's suffering like me, there's no one that's suffering like me. No one else ever suffered like me. No? Okay, we'll show you. And things went from bad to worse until he lost every penny he had. And Nebuch, he had to go at night and knock at doors and beg for food. I was never so embarrassed in my life. There was no one ever so embarrassed as me. No one ever in the whole history of the world, there was no one ever as embarrassed as much as I am. The tzudas that I'm going through, Rachmana litzlan, never, I am the worst person in the world. So Kanishana, he's like, really, no one had it as bad as you? So he develops a tziras. He becomes a mitzayah, kind of a leprosy. His skin is peeling, and there's this terrible odor coming out. And he knocks on the door. Tata's Nahaim, boom! Slams the door in his face. And Nahaim begins to cry. There's no one. I can't even go collecting. There's no one in the world that ever had it as bad as me. No one in the world ever had it as bad as me. Okay, we'll show you. So he turns into this kind of hunchback in such a way that because of his posture, he can't even swallow. At one point, he's desperate. He's so thirsty. And he manages to get the cup in on a certain angle. And for the first time in 3 days, he gets some water down his throat. And he's, hi, Hashem, thank you. Hi, I'm the luckiest person in the world. I got some water down my throat. And Rabbi Fishel said, you think you're the luckiest person for that? I'll show you why you're lucky. And the next day he woke up, his back kind of started straightening out. Found the physical therapist. He said, I'm glicklich. I'm glicklich. He said, you're glicklich? You think that's called good? I'll show you what's called good. And slowly his tzara started going away. His tzara started going away. I can now knock on doors and say, tzedakah, give me tzedakah without being embarrassed. I'm the happiest person in the world. That's happy? We'll show you what happy is. And finally he came all the way until where he was to start. Except originally, he was a very, very angry rich man. No, he was a very happy rich man. So the Rishon said to his daughter, so at the end you're going to get back to where you are. Why do you have to go through the whole valley? Go straight there. Go straight there. Gemara says in the Masechtas Taanis that, there are moments that we have no choice, but it's between us and the Rabbi Shalom. Remember many, many years ago, I first started teaching. I taught 8th grade, Shnaytagach. And it was a disaster. The kids were all over me. I had absolutely zero control. I had as much discipline, I had nothing. And I'll never forget, I walked into class one day, and the kids were playing catch. And I was coming around playing. Then I goes my presence at all. I said, put that ball away! They didn't put it away. They kept playing catch. Which really, they knew that I didn't want them to play ball. So why would I have thought it would have helped if I told them to put it away? I said, you don't put that ball away! I'm warning you! Don't put that ball away! They're like, they're throwing the ball back and forth. So I go over, I was really angry. I was all 26 years old. I took the ball. I said, you touch this ball one more time, I'm throwing it out the window. 5 minutes later, the ball goes flying. So I grabbed the ball, and I threw it toward the open window. Abba shlemazl, blab shlemazl. And the ball missed the window, bounced off the wall, and came crashing right back onto my head. And suffice it to say, the class broke out into this vicarious laughter. And I took this kid that had the ball, schlepped him by his collar, and I said, go get him out! You're suspended from the yeshiva! I'd like to let it all out. And he looked at me, and I'll never forget what he said. He was a little taken aback by my outburst. I'll never forget what he said. He said, Rebbe, it's not my fault that you missed the window. Baruch Hashem, my discipline control may have not been perfect, but it was far, far improved. And one of the things that always helped me was, who am I really angry at? Who am I really angry at? I don't have a right to be angry at the kids, because I missed the window. I began to focus much more on myself than on others. And my own state of mind is going to change a lot of things. If I walk in and I feel threatened, if I walk in and the world came to an end, I went to Rebbe school. In Rebbe school, they taught you exactly what to do. You're going to have perfect control. Until I had this kid. Of course, I won't tell you his real name. We'll call him Moshe. And this Moshe L'Kanai Nahara, he was, they warned me, the previous Rebbe warned me, he is a one-man sink ship operation. Okay. Till Chanukah we got along, after Chanukah he got bored, the situation deteriorated terribly. He would walk in and get angry, close the lights, and throw desks, throw chairs, throw everything. To make matters worse, his parents were very important people in the yeshiva, and if they ever tried to crack down on him, like, that's rebellion today, that's rebellion today, no love for kids, and whatever I did was wrong, and basically I could not teach with this kid. If you would come in and you would find something in his Gemara was ripped, you would say, Rebbe, you did this, I'm ripping your Gemara. It was like, and if I yelled at him, I got a call from the parents while I yelled at him. He's a fine young man today, by the way. L'maisa, I got through that year. I really thought, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm not teaching anymore. I mean, now push me for another year. So now he's one of a kind. That, from their point on, my teaching career went up and up and up. The next couple of years, I got to the full amount of discipline and control that it's shy for me to get. I'm not the perfect person, but we definitely had very geschmack years. You know one of the things that did it? Every time a kid would get up and he would try to be mechutzav, I would laugh. I would say to myself, you don't even know what the word chutzpah means. Compared to Moshe, you're nothing. What Moshe taught me was, you can have all the rules in the world where things are supposed to work. Sometimes things happen that are not in your control. I would walk into the class and I would say, I can do everything right and this thing could totally fall apart. So Rabbi Shalom, I'm in your hands. And once I did that, I wasn't threatened, and suddenly I had an amazing sense of control, which I couldn't understand. So fast forward 10 years later. It's not that first year. I have control of the class. And I'm sitting there, and I get a call from Chofetz Chaim Heritage Foundation. I should come out to California to give a whole shmooze, shmir selection, a major asifa, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of kids. I said, I cannot go. It's the first week of the year. I cannot take off. I can't take off. No, come on. I can't take off. Come on. Please, I can't. I don't like taking off. Definitely don't like taking off the first week of the year. And that year I couldn't. Because although I had control of the class, there was still some, I noticed it on the first day. Well, there were two kids there, Yaakov and Baruch. Baruch was impulsive, came from a broken home, screamed, yelled, he was upset, he was angry, anything blew him up, exploded, anything. But one person said to someone else, you know, my wife, anything makes her so crazy, I don't know what's going to happen. And any small thing, and he said, you're so lucky, your wife needs a small thing, that means she doesn't even need that. I always get to laugh at one side. I say, okay, I know why. Maybe the mic is pointed one direction. Okay, anyway, so this Baruch was very impulsive. There was another little kid, Yaakov, a cute kid. Not a mechuzah, just cute. And mischievous. The very first day, usually the very first day, the Sheva Brachas. Okay? The very first day, he took his one sitz from his tzitzis, tickled someone's ear, turned away. Two kids thought the other one did it. They started fighting with each other. And he like stood there, and I really saw this is going to be some year. And if I would tell him, don't you ever tickle someone with your tzitzis? He would never do it again. He would find something else. He was always respectful. You can never catch him. So I said, this class, I'm not taking off. I'm not leaving them to the mercy of the substitute. So quickly, I said to the person, I cannot do it, I'm sorry. He said, come on, do it. I can't do it, I'm sorry. Please, I cannot do it, I'm sorry. So finally, he says to me, ask your Manah. Okay, fine, I'll ask my Manah. So I went to tell my Manah, I can't go, right? So if you want, I can't go, right? Okay, you can't. My Manah said, nope, definitely. He said, I have an idea. We'll Skype it. What? It wasn't really Skyping then. It was like they had like a truck in front of a satellite dish, but we'll bring in a camera. You'll talk to your class, and all the people in California will watch as you talk to your class. The times work out. I don't think it's not such a good idea. Why, Rabbi Schachter, this way? Everyone in California can see the way your class behaves. Right. As I said, I don't think it's such a good idea, okay? No, let's do it. Anyway, it was happening. People wanted it to happen, it was happening. So I told the class what's going to happen. There'll be cameras in the room, and everyone in California is going to watch me tell a story, or talk about Shmiras HaLashon, and you're all going to behave, right? And I did a small daichi and Mimakareves. I told them if they behave, I'm going to take them to Niagara Falls, to the moon. It's going to be a year like out of pluses, and everyone's report got straight, no question about it. I warned them if they don't behave, they're going to lose their recess for the next 30 years. I'm telling you right now. By your chasana, between the first and second dance, you're not going to be able to sit down. I'm telling you, it's going to be fit achas dos. Okay. Of course, the one thing I made sure was that Moishela should not sit next to Baruch, or Yankee next to Baruch, you know what I mean? The tickler shouldn't sit next to the kid that's in class. So I woke up for a minute, they all come that day, they dressed in their suits and their ties, and they look so cute and nice. And everyone is sitting there with their hands folded. One kid really got me, because I told him, when I talk, you sit with your hands folded, smile, and like nod like you're listening, okay? And make believe like you're interested. And one kid said, and when can we stop acting? Okay. So I go out for a minute, and this lighting guy comes in, holding the lights. He starts rearranging the kids. And I walk in and I'm on. Didn't even have a second to prepare, and I see Simon Ishgid, Yankel and Baruch are sitting right next to each other. And I'm starting a 40-minute story, and the camera keeps going back and forth between the kids and me. And I am, I'm talking, and for the first 20 minutes, everyone's behaving. After 20 minutes, this Yankel is already getting a little antsy, and I don't know what's coming, and he reaches into his briefcase, and I said, I don't know what's coming. And he takes out an orange. Starts eating an orange. I gave them a list of 1,000 things they shouldn't do, and never told them not to eat an orange. Simon is good. So I couldn't say anything because I'm talking to all the kids. I tried to wave it into the story. And the poet said, put down the orange! He didn't quite come. Okay, so he's eating the orange. He's finished the orange, he's still bored. Now, I don't know about girls, but boys do this. They take the peel of the orange, and they kvetch it in such a way like this juice comes shooting out. I was once on a plane, I was sitting next to two people next to me. And this guy was like squeezing orange juice into a cup on the plane. And as he was about to put away the orange, somebody next to him said, let me show you, you get more juice out of it. Spritz it at different angles, more juice out of it, more juice out of it. So I said to him, really, what do you do for a living? You're a chef? He said, no, he takes care of tuition, he's a shiva. So yeah, that's what I So we get it. Okay. So Moishela takes this, and Yankel Baruch, whatever, you know what I mean, the tzitzis kid, and he bends the orange peel, and there's this spritz that comes out, okay? And it hits the impulsive kid right between the eyes. I said, Simonish kids. And just then the camera's turning toward it. I'm trying to, as I said, I tried to weave into the story, and then there was an earthquake and a tsunami, I didn't know how to. I said, this kid can't control his anger. He's going to blow up, he's going to start fighting, my heart skipped a beat. And I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say, don't you dare! We just looked at each other. And this Baruch looked at me, and I looked at him, and he nodded to me. And I'll never forget that nod. It was like a nod, don't worry. I realize you're in a predicament. I'm not going to respond. It's very interesting. You see, I don't mind to admit my failures, so I can say my successes. There was no one that had a success with this Baruch kid till that year. You can't hold him in a classroom. It goes crazy anytime he touches him. I had all the patience in the world for him. So when Manal asked me, why? How do you have so much patience for this Baruch? I said, you don't understand. Our eyes met, and I know his nature. He got spritzed. Every fiber of his being wanted to get up and say, I've had it! And I looked at him, and with our eyes, he said to me, Rebbe, don't worry, I won't do it. I feel I owe him. I owe him. He had to get into the Masifta. I learned hours with him privately. Got him into the Masifta. Should I do that for every kid? Yeah. But I was very driven to do this with this kid because we met with our eyes, we understood each other. There are times in our life we've had it. Can't change. Can't change. Slap after slap, patch after patch, can't change. And we want to explode. And our eyes meet the eyes of the Rabbi Fishel. I say, okay, Rabbi Fishel, I accept it. And the Rabbi Fishel looks at us. And the Rabbi Fishel turns to the Malach and says, I have all the patience in the world for this person. Why? According to I have the printout for this person's life. It's not supposed to go good now. The Rabbi Fishel says, you didn't see, but our eyes met. And this person said, I accept it. Malachi lekim oilim v'yardim boy. Says the Baal Shem Tov. We meet the Kadosh Baruch Hu's eyes. Vayivga b'moka. Yaakov Avinu runs into a wall. He says, I'm a red sent in my name. I was almost murdered. I was almost killed. I'm 84 years old. I'm not a chassan yet. I have to go deal with the most treacherous monster in the world of a shver. A lot of people say so, but for Yaakov it was really that way. And I have to marry Rachel and build Klal Yisrael. Everyone's trying to kill me. Esau is trying to kill me. He's trying to kill me. What does Yaakov do? He says, okay, let's continue. I have no answers. Continue. And at that moment, he sees a sulam in of Arza, Beroisha Miki Hashemayim. And Malachim are running up and down. The Malachim are running up, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is sending them down, says the Baal Shem Tov. Now Malach. I'm a Malach. He's in Basar Adam. You know what he was just thinking? I'm lost. I'm finished. We never think that way. Nah, says the Rabbi Fishel. Our eyes just met. The Rabbi Fishel says, you'll never understand that moment between me and a Yid when our eyes meet. And you're about to say, I can't change. And you're about to explode. And your eyes meet the Rabbi Fishel's eyes and says, okay, Moshe, I know you're here, I accept who I am. Then things open up that were never open before, that weren't even close. The problem is we have to learn to identify those moments. Moshe, the man of Bilam, always says it. The man is walking, he's angry at the world. Nothing goes my way. You know? I heard that the Sar HaMazel is in the woods. The Sar HaMazel is in the woods? I want to speak to him. Charges into the woods. I demand to know, and on the way he trips over a lion. And the lion says to him, "Oi, I'm so sick." So you're sick, what do you want from me? He says, I heard you're going to the Sar HaMazel. Ask him why I'm so sick. What you are. How do you know where I'm going? I'm sick and tired of helping someone else. Nothing in my life went my way. And he keeps on going. He leans against a tree, a bunch of coconuts come smashing on his head. He turns around, starts cursing the tree. The tree says, what do you want from me? I'm a shvach tree. I'm supposed to be a strong tree, and I'm shvach. I heard you're going to the Sar HaMazel. I asked him why I'm so shvach. I'm sick and tired of helping others. Nothing goes for me in my life. Why can't I be normal like anyone else? Goodbye. Keeps on going. In the middle of the woods, sees a young girl laying on the floor crying. She goes, do you want to know why I'm here? He says, no. You want to help me? Bye. Can you please go to the Sar HaMazel and ask him? I'm a princess. Why did my father find an imchain in my eyes and banish me to the forest? Fuck off. You're such a yetta. How do you know where I'm going? I'm sick and tired of helping others. Nothing. Okay? I feel sorry for myself and that's it. And he comes to the Sar HaMazel and the Sar HaMazel says to him, I could tell you about others, I can't tell you about yourself. Those are the rules. And he says a thing or two to the Sar HaMazel, and the Sar HaMazel says, you can say whatever you want, you're not intimidating me, and he storms back. And he meets this maiden. And the maiden says, what did the Sar HaMazel say? You want to know what he said? He said, your mazel is that on the day that you get married, your father will find chen in your eyes, and you and your husband will be taken back to the palace. They're going to be heirs to the throne. They're going to become the most richest and powerful people in the kingdom. She says, great, marry me. He goes, oh no, sick and tired of helping others. I came here to help myself and others. And he continues it. My sister was very lucky. He comes to the tree. The tree says, what does Sar HaMazel say? Said, in your roots, there's an oitzer. In your roots, there's an oitzer. There's a treasure somebody once planted there. And that's why your roots never took hold of the ground. Your roots never into the ground. That's why you're shaking. So the tree says, dig up the oitzer. Take home the treasure. And I'll be sick and tired helping others. I came here for myself. It didn't work. Oh no, whatsoever. And he meets the lion. The lion says, what does Sarah Mazel say about it? Sarah Mazel said, your refuah is, if you meet someone that HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps sending him opportunities to reveal himself to him and to help him, and yet, because he's so determined that he's disgusted with his life, he keeps shooing them away. Your mazel is to eat somebody like that. That'll be your refuah. And the lion ate it. How we know the mashal? Okay, that's the only kasha you have on the story. Kind of very real, isn't it? Another story I want to finish, as I said. There's a guy driving on the highway, and the police pulls him over. And I do. There's anything wrong. There's a program over here, the upper border near Canada, northern New York, safe driving. We're following you 10 miles. You're driving so safely, your hands on the wheel, perfect speed, seat belts, no cell phones, giving you a $500 reward. Thanks. So the cop is trying to be friendly. What are you going to do with the $500? So his wife says, maybe he'll get himself a license finally, I don't know. He says, what? So the guy in the back says, no, don't listen to they're both his husband and wife, they're both drunk. Don't listen to them. Don't listen. Drunk! He's like furious. And he pulls out a gun. You're drunk! Driving drunk! Get out of the car! And the trunk pops open, this little kid pops up and says, we're across the border already? We went across the border? And he's hiding there. But sometimes the Rebbe knows if we're going to get a $500 reward now, there's going to be a price to pay for it. Coach Baruch says, wait for things to fall into place. When they fall into place, it's going to work. And it's going to happen. So Rav Broika, Tana, and he meets Eli Hanavi, and he says there's thousands of people walking here. Anyone have easy pass straight at Thailand Harbor? Those two. Rav Broika goes over to him and says, what do you two chevra do? You don't look like big goinim. You don't have any buttons on your bekisha, like on your frock. Another story, the guy had 4 buttons behind his why. He says, so what's... So they say, that doesn't mention it. Okay, I'll go back to this. Anyway, so he says, what's with you? You don't look like you're this big tzaddik. He said, we're not big tzaddikim. I'll tell you what we do. We pass by someone and we see he's down. We see somebody's down. We go over to him, and we don't leave till we get a smile on that person's face. That's what we do. Right. That's why you're going straight into Thailand Harbor. That's why you're going straight into Thailand Harbor. In fact, in my show, that's why they go straight into Thailand Harbor, because they go around and make people laugh. I don't get it. Because they make people laugh. That's why he's going straight into Thailand Harbor. Says the Marsho, when a Yid is in pain, Hashem is in pain. It says, Kloinim Miroishi, Kloinim Israel. Hashem's arms are heavy. Can't. So when you make someone b'simcha, you're making the shechina b'simcha. The Rebbe Moshe of the Urshel Rebbe explains it. The Rebbeinu Shalom has loads of Yeshuas for us. Thousands of Yeshuas. It was all along, there was an opportunity for me to be happy. In order for the Rebbeinu Shalom to reveal it to us, we have to be happy. So of course it's a catch-22. How could I be happy for going through what I'm going through? I know, but if you're happy, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can reveal Yeshuas he has to. And that's why the mashal of the Gemara is Kloini Meroishi, Kloini Israel. I'm holding such a heavy package. The pain of Kutsha Berichu that has a Yeshua, that has the water for us, but he can't give it to us because of our attitude. Even though we have good reason for that attitude, the pain that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has is more than our pain. And when we create a matzah where we're making ourselves happy and somebody else happy, then you should know life begins to change. So Ner Chanukah is Ner Ishu Besa, says the Sfas Emes. You're not in the mood of lighting Ner Chanukah. I'm in a rotten mood. Ner Chanukah is Simcha, B'Lakais Mitzvah. The way I'm doing it, Ner Ishu Besa. I have to make the people around me happy. I have to try. When you do it, you're zeichet to the next level, the Mahadra, that every person lights on his own. And sometimes the Rebbeinu Shalom says, you have no reason to be happy, and you're trying to make others happy by smiling, and you're trying to be mechazik each other, even though you yourself need chizik, I'll give you chizik. I'll open it up. A woman once came to the house with her husband. She had gone through a machla. The machla came back. The mother of children, she didn't want to go through therapy anymore. She's had enough. I should convince her. I should not convince her. She says, you're not going to convince me, I'm not doing it. And the husband says, say something to her. But she don't put words in my mouth, I don't know what to say. And finally I said to her, well, why don't you do it for your kids? She goes, you know what 4 months of chemotherapy is? No. So don't tell me what to do. That 4 months is not life. So I don't know why. I just somehow my calendar came into my hands as if the Rabbi Fishel said, Klotz, open this. And I'm looking at it. And I'm saying, exactly 4 months from now is Hanukkah. So maybe you're right, the 4 months may not be living. But after the 4 months it's going to be Hanukkah, you're going to be with your family. So live for Hanukkah, not for now, live for tomorrow. So look at me, what are you talking about? And I have this idea. I run outside, and I take a bottle of Shemin's ice. And my wife likes Shemin's ice, Friday. I said, when you go in for the therapies, take this with you. Say, I'm not living for now. I'm living for 4 months for Hanukkah. And the first night of Hanukkah, go and pour the oil into your husband's menorah. And your children will stand around you, and you'll say, well, it was. But Baruch Hashem, it was good to make it to this day. So take it with you. And when you look at this oil, when you're going through the therapy, you'll say, Taka, now I'm not living, but I'm not living for now. I'm doing what I have to do. She goes, that's like a very big bottle to take with me. That's her only problem. So I ran out. I'm desperately looking for something to put it in. So I empty this bottle of Tylenol, right? Throw it out. And I'm pouring the oil into it. Wife comes out, she goes, what are you doing? Right? So the guy bought a bottle of Tylenol. He says, you know, it worked. He says, I didn't even listen to all the instructions. Just listen to one of the instructions, already my headache went away. So which one? One of the parts says, keep away from children. So I'm pouring the oil into this Tylenol bottle. And I said, what are you doing? So I tell her what I just put. She says, you're going to give it oil in the Tylenol bottle? I said, you have a better idea? So, so she opens up the closets from last year's Shlach months. She starts emptying, and she finds this little bottle of liquor, which is in the form of a violin. She says, okay, what do I do with the liquor? I said, you have a head? I said, that. It's typical for the Rabbi Fishel Schachter, you know. We wash it out, and I fill it up with oil. It's this beautiful little bottle, the shape of a violin. And I walked in, I said, you see the violin? It goes in, it goes out. You know? Sometimes we go in, but you know it's coming out. The music is going to come out. You're not living for the next 4 months. You're living for Hanukkah. They left. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. 4 months later, trust me, I totally forgot about the story. I was in a rush to get out, to tell a story here, to run there, back to Yeshiva, Mishkan, I said, Hanukkah left. Latkas. I get a call. And there's a woman who says, can you please come to my house? We're about to light left. I don't know what she's talking about. Why should I? Please. It was just sincerity in her voice. I went to their house. As I walked in, the whole family is standing there. The husband is standing there. She's holding this little thing. She pours the oil into the bottle. Empties the bottle. She says, I held this bottle for 4 months. She says, it was worth it. Sometimes, now is very difficult. We're not living in this world for now. When you take people with you and say, we're going to do what we have to do because there's a future, then the Rabbi Fishel opens up Yeshuas. We could have never imagined the wildness of our imagination are available for us. Available for us.
Good.